This is Mike and Susie, and we're here discussing an event, and we want to share it with everybody. And we just thought it was a real trip. We still always think it's a trip when it happened. In our complex we live at, it's not the most, what do you call, accommodating, or how would you describe our
Our
complex?
neighborhood is very colorful. It
What do
really
you mean by
is.
colorful?
Colorful, just a lot of interesting, different people. There's a lot of people who are simply down and out.
Yeah, and when people get desperate measures come to desperate
That's
means, and
true,
they start
yes.
fighting and stuff. And so
Hmm.
this happens quite frequently in here, actually. But anyway, our neighbor across the street had came up to me. I was in my shed that night, and the reason I'm talking about this because I want to show how aliens get involved with everyday occurrences, and had did with us. Um, I was in at my shed because I was putting away my bicycle. Had just gotten dark, and as Susie went in the house, and as I'm out there, the man from across the street from me comes and says, "Is that your car parked in my space?" And I go, "No." "Is that your friend's?" I said, "I don't know." And so he storms off, and I just closed up my shed, locked it up, and went in the house. Okay, didn't think anything of it or anything else. Well, about, I don't know, probably about 3 or 4 minutes later, or whatever it was, all of a sudden we heard fighting in the streets, didn't we?
Yes,
Explain what's going on. You explain it.
yes. I heard arguments between two of the tenants, and
And one of them was the one that actually
yes,
came up to me at the shed.
that's
Okay.
right, and asked about the car. So basically, the guy that came, the first guy, C, he came up and asked about the car, and then he came up to the neighbor and pulled a gun.
And, well, we have cameras around our coach, our home where we live, and all we hear is he's. We heard something, it was him yelling something. Peppy, remember?
Yes, I
Peppy. That's all I'll
remember
say is Peppy.
Peppy, yeah, and he said,
Mike,
get
he
the
said, call.
cops, he has a gun.
And so I told, he says, Mike, call the cops, call 911. He's got a gun on us. It was Peppy and his old lady out in the streets. And he got accused of parking in his space, and the guy just flipped off. He said, "That's not my car," just like he did to me, but I just walked away. And anyway, so they got into an altercation, leading to them the gun being pulled. And what happened here is the cops come after we're laying on our floor here, trying to dodge a bullet because we were directly in the line of
I call the
fire.
police.
Yeah, we're laying on the
Obviously,
floor,
yes.
and we had our firearm with us. Okay, we had our firearm right by our side, waiting for anything else to happen or transpire. But anyway, while we're on the floor, we hear all of a sudden, after we call the cops, they come flying in here, and they it was a whole row of them, just a whole row of them come into this place.
About 6 or 7 cop cars.
Something like that.
There was more than several.
A
I would
lot.
say.
There was a lot. They
Mhm.
flooded it.
Yeah.
So anyway, when the cops came over here, they saw our cameras, and they said, "Can you tell us something about that? Do you know what's going on?" I said, "I just told them what I told you guys, that he had came over here, and well, I thought I was parked in his place. He wasn't very happy, and he stormed off, and then he got in a fight with the guy down the street here, Peppy, and that's not his real name, by the way, either. And he, well, I guess from what I understand, there was a gun pulled." And they said, "Can we see? You have cameras here? Can we see that?" I said, "Yeah, sure. I don't give a crap. Yeah, come on in."
Of course.
So I invited him in, and I told him what happened. We're laying on the floor, and while we're reviewing this, we're talking about. He said, "Where were you?" I said, "We're laying on the floor. I had my firearm in my hand." He says, "Can I see it?" I said, "Yeah, right here." He goes, "Okay." I bring it out. It's registered. It's a legal firearm. Okay. And he goes, and the other cop's watching the screen while he's talking to me and Susie. And anyway, the cop says, "Can you pause it right here? Can you pause it?" And I go, "Yeah." And so I paused the screen. He goes, "What?" He says, "I don't." He says, "I'm not sure that there's a gun over there." He said, "But what I'm seeing there is," he says, "I don't know." He says, "What is that up there?" And he points to what he points to. I actually have the actual image. of it from the security camera.
This will blow everyone's mind.
What he
honestly.
points to. Now, this is what I did on the computer of what it is, but he wants to know what was up in this being that was up in, or whatever that face was, in the security light over here in our park. And there's the security light that I'm speaking of the park, right there below this image here. So there's a security light there. There's a gateway right there, and this being is positioned right in between this light and this orb here, and that's what's positioned in between our home and the neighbors. Okay, so the cop says, "What is that?" We blow it up. He said, "What is that?" I said, "I don't know. You're seeing what we see." Okay, he says his partner. He says, "I don't see anything. Let's take off." And we examined it. This is what we got. It was.
I love this video because it shows it in every frame.
It's available on YouTube. You can watch it.
With the traffic from the 101 passing back and forth. It was
wild. It's wild.
Really, really interesting.
But that was
very intriguing.
That was that event. Okay. The next event I'm going to talk about is we went to. I told Suzie, and this is clairvoyance. This is how they work with me, my family. And I'm going to go back to this last scene, first of all, because they did protect me, and I want to show that they are actually guardians. Okay, people say they're evil and bad. No, there was an altercation, and they actually stepped in the middle. I just happened to be able to catch this stuff on video. We did, and
yes, we did. I want to add that the first guy pulled the gun on the second guy, and the second guy was there with his 7-year-old son.
Yeah, so there was a good reason for us doing something. And yeah, no, the guy was ready to, and I knew he owned firearms too. All of us do in here, most of us do. And I don't know what to think about that, but personally, I'm not going to get into that issue. The issue here is the alien, the alien in the security camera. And that's just one of the events. That's how they communicate with me. But anyway, on this next event,
they certainly saved our bacon.
Here's another one. Okay, you're a witness to it. Now this is stuff that Suzie has seen with me. Okay, and has been witness to this type of stuff. Okay, okay. The next image I will show you that we went to. I was going to go out to Goat Rock Beach. For some reason I had a strong feeling to go out there, and I was filming an episode about when I almost drowned there as a kid and was lost out at sea for about 30 feet out there, floating in my sleeping bag at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's super scary.
And they pulled me in, and I wanted to repeat. I was going to do an episode about it, and actually I did do an episode about it somewhere in videos, and it's probably my YouTube. But when I floated out to sea, the family my parents were with, I was a little like I was like 2 years old or whatever it was when it happened. 3 years old. I was a toddler. I know that. And they were playing ukuleles and stuff up by the bonfire on the beach then, and back then you could do that. And
yeah, they no longer allow overnight camping.
No, they don't. They don't allow it. But anyway, I guess my mom told me that I went out and just ruined the whole night, and they thought I was dead because I was out there for like quite a while. I really, they weren't sure. She said, but it seemed like hours. She said, but it was probably about maybe 15 minutes, hopefully. And well, that's what I was revisiting, was that scene. So when I go out there and I start taking pictures, the first thing I capture. And one of the first things, this is where this is okay. What I'm going to show you first is an image of the rocks. Okay, those are the rocks where they had a bonfire, and that's where we were camping along this beach here. Okay, and this is where I went out, and the tide came in and swept me out. Okay, well, that's where we were filming, and while we were filming it and taking JPEGs of it and stuff like that, we came across another image right here, which is of, if you look very closely, it's blown up. There's a man down at the bottom of the rock, and there are 2 women walking away from the rock, and then there's, on the next image, there's an alien behind that rock. You see that it's dressed in black, but it's not the man, because the man is in front of the rock, right there, and the alien is above it. But in another image, I don't think I have that one in this album, or do I? Let's see.
The shrouded being is great.
Suzie saw it. She was with me.
Yeah, I know. I was there, and I remember
It was a hooded being, just like the one I described.
I remember looking over at that same set of rocks, like a split second before, and there was nothing there, and then I saw it plain as day, and all I could think, I mean, you know, when Michael did the picture.
Okay, now, what did you...
When he took the picture, I'm sorry.
Okay, so that being.
Yes.
Now think back to my first chapter of my book, very first chapter of my book, and these images were taken after my book was written. Okay.
Yes.
The copyrights of the book are 2011. Okay.
That's correct.
Legal copyrights of 2011. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. 2011, filed with the Library of Congress and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bottom line is, this stuff happened after my book was written. Okay. So, in my first chapter of that book, it's of when I'm sleeping in the atrium, and the little hooded beings, 3 beings, come to me, and they tell me they're my parents. Okay, and I said, you can't be my parents. My parents are in the house. He said, those aren't your parents; they're just your guardians. So they basically said they're taking me with them and split. But anyway, those beings are described in the book as having hoods, black hoods. And this being, and these images are also on my Facebook profile photo albums.
It wasn't there in real life.
Well, what I want to say, my point being here, hold on, what I want to get to is the hooded being. This is also a hooded being here in this image. I know it's not easy to see on the camera showing it this way. Let me take it out of the
Yeah, there might not be as bad
much
as
glare. It's a bad glare.
Yeah.
I see it too. So hold on a second. Man, the picture's got a glare on it, but there. Okay, there you go. Sort of.
Oh.
That's
Well, it's on the Facebook.
It's on my
page.
Facebook. Anyway, it's got a hood on.
Page,
It's got the same black hood that the 3 beings did when they came to me in the atrium. That's what's important. Okay, the hood, and this is this exact same location. Those rocks behind this being here are the same rocks where I went out. And they're the same spot where I filmed out some orbs above the rock, didn't I?
Yes.
Also in YouTube videos, okay? Mm-hmm. So this stuff is actually caught. And it was like I was being told to go out there that day, and these events were arranged to happen, okay? I'll tell you this is how they work, okay? Another way, I'm going to go through one more thing here, because I want to move forward to something else. We want to, as we're heading out to my niece's wedding back in what year?
2013.
2013. That's when and those are all the images I'm going to be talking about is on my Facebook.
They really are very special.
They're all in. I'm going to show you a few images, and just to show you that these are actually in my Facebook profile that I captured in the barn. All right, hold on. Anyway, there's missing time in every image that was taken in here. And this image is going to be very difficult to see, but right up there, this is an alien being, okay? And this is where, this right here around this door here, is where I saw the alien in my book, Dark Room Fears chapter, okay, and that's why I wanted to know was out there and was chasing me. But anyway, that's talked about in Dark Room Fears, okay. And I went back there in 2013 on the way to the wedding. Our family did.
Yes.
My Suzie, our daughter, our grandson, and our
grandson's sister.
Yes. Well, did she come? I couldn't remember. Was she there?
She was
She was there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I remember her very well.
I didn't remember her coming, but anyway. Mm-hmm. On the way there, we stopped and we went out and took pictures inside of the barn. Okay, and that's where I got the gray alien being, and it's really hard to see in here. But you can see it in my Facebook focus. There you go. There's an image of it. You can see it on my Facebook albums. That's a gray alien with a blue one, and it's got the dove above the head. It's a mirrored image because you're looking at it on a screen right now instead of the actual image itself, because the image is actually facing the other direction.
It's really neat.
But you can see this, and it's the gray alien. It's one of my covers too, and you can see that right up the top there. You can see the descending dove at the top there coming down on the forehead. The eye, the nose comes down like this, then there's the chin here, and then the neck comes down like this, and it's got a rather large cranium that comes around the whole head here, like that. But anyway, that's in there too. But that was another image that was taken in that barn, and this was an arranged wedding. And I told before we went, what did I tell you? That I needed to stop by the barn.
Yes, you did, and Princess and I we didn't want to stop there because we were late. The wedding was like at, I think, 2 or 3 o'clock, and we had left our house at 1:45.
And I was taking too long. They thought I was taking too long.
But he was totally taking too
according
long.
According to what it was actually, there's like 1 minute and 25 seconds. How much time? I have to put on some glasses to read this.
I would, yes.
There is 1 second. There's a second. These images are modified. Here's a picture of the properties from the camera images, and then you can see it's a mirrored image, but you can see that it's hard to see on there. But that's also my albums. They were modified 1 second before they were created. And according to Canon Corporation, you can't modify an image before it's created. You only modify an image after it's created.
That's right.
We called Canon because we could. It was there, and I still have the SD.
Figure it out.
We still have the SD card that these images are on. Okay, this is smoking gun material of missing time. Just so you know, this right here, what you're witnessing here, and still maintained on the original SD card, and it could be verified. That's the original file from the camera. Every image on there that I took in that barn, there is 1 second modification before it was created. Okay, so and these are all the images that I was in there, and I wasn't in there that long, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It really is crazy because
1, 2, 3.
He took
4, 5, 6.
He took longer than we were wanting him to take.
7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 images like that. Hopefully you get an idea of what's going on. But and Canon Corporation said it's impossible. They said this is not.
It is 1,000% impossible.
And one of the guys, before I talked to Canon Corporation, I wound up talking to a couple of other stores around. They said they didn't think that was even possible. They said the only way you'd find out is through Canon Corporation, and they were intrigued about the question. The man at one of the stores, which I'm not going to mention their name, actually told me, he said, well, the only way that could actually happen is if you were time traveling when you took the pictures. He says, but you can't modify an image a second before it's been created. You modify it after. They said the same thing Canon Corporation said. And anyway, so that's an impossible feat. But inside that barn were all those alien pictures, and I want to point something else out about arranging things and how I left that place in, well, I left that place in 1973, wasn't it? Yeah.
I believe it was 73 or 74.
Yeah, somewhere there about 73. We moved out because that's where my dad threw me in that barn. Those beings interfered, and my dad was
special place.
My dad was trying to kill me. Okay, my earthly father didn't really. He wasn't. I don't want to get into that right now, but he wasn't the nicest guy in the world. Okay, but anyway, he tried to do some bad things. He literally tried to kill me out there over an incident, which I'm not going to get into either. And it had nothing to do with me. It was somebody else. But anyway, he tries to kill me in there, and he's strangling me, and he's lifting me up by my neck, and he's throwing me across the barn stall, and I'm blacking out on the floor, and that's when all the orbs start falling. There's like millions. I couldn't even count them. I thought I was dying. I couldn't breathe anymore, and suddenly the barn grew really bright, light with cracks. This is the same barn we're speaking of, and he was picked. I watched him. I was laying on the ground. I watched his feet lift off the floor like this. He goes poosh across the stall in this lap, and like 3 times, okay? And he said, run, I hear a voice. He said, run. And I don't think that was him saying that, but I heard a voice saying, run, Mike, run. Only thing I could rationalize at the time is it was him, but I don't think it was him saying that. And I did. I ran and hid in the closet. But this is the same barn. And what I want to get to right now is in that barn, when we left in 1973, is my old hair. Let me get back to there. This is our newspaper article with me from what year was that article? I was in 5th grade. I was in 5th grade, and I was in a science fair project, okay?
Figured like 1970 maybe?
Yeah, something like that. 5th grade, whatever
70,
it was.
70.
Anyway, I did a project on space and the solar system, and this is me standing over there, and I'm even wearing a Coca-Cola shirt that came from my dad, and I'm up here, and I did a project on space in our solar system, and this is my sign here, and these are all images that are in my photos too on Facebook. There's space that says space there. This is out of the Argus Courier newspaper, and the date's actually on it, which I'll tell you in a second. But let me point this out. There's a sign that said space there. There's the astronauts there from the Apollo mission, and and then there's the solar system poster up above. The solar system poster's down on the table here, laying across the table. Anyway, and the other person, mine was on space, and the other one was about ants, and the other one was about reptiles. So it's just a weird lineup in the first place. And anyway, we were put in the paper. But in that barn, now back to the point, in that barn, on that wall, after returning there after all those years, is the same tag board from my science project. It's still hanging on the back side of my dark room there, and you can see where I took all the NASA pictures off. These are the NASA pictures, and I took them down. I ordered them from NASA, and they sent them to me. They were really cool.
Like a time capsule.
Like a time capsule.
Yes.
Okay, and there's the solar system poster, and the solar system poster is right up there. The word space is missing, but the solar system poster was still right up there because it was getting badly torn. And anyway, I hung it up above because his other pictures are torn. I hung it in there. But this is the project for my science project. And directly across from that stall that same day, the stall is on the other side of this barn. And let me find the image. Inside of here are a bunch of orbs. This is the stall directly across from my dad threw me across the stall and tried to murder me. And it's the same wheelbarrow. It's like a time capsule. That wheelbarrow was left there the day we left. We left like a few weeks after this happened to my dad. We moved out of there, and he wouldn't stay there. And he sent me in the barn to get all of his garbage out of there, his BS. So he said, leave the wheelbarrow. The wheelbarrow is still sitting in that barn all those years later like a time capsule. And you can't see him here, but if you look at my photos on Facebook, you'll see all these orbs all in the stall in the barn. I couldn't figure out what message they were trying to tell me, and you can see them there. They're all over the place. And what it boiled down to is right across from my solar system poster, they showed me our solar system. Okay, I did the artwork and aligned. They're all within their belts. Every one of our planets are within that belt of our solar system. Then here they are. They're all labeled in this, and this is all in my.
It'd be cool to go back there.
There, right there.
Yeah.
It's all labeled with our solar system. Also, they showed where parallel dimensional universes are within our solar system. Take a good look at all those green are other worlds, other planets, and it's right within our habitable zone. And that's within our solar system. So what they were telling me on my solar system poster across the way and this solar system poster, folks, is that the poster was wrong, okay? They were telling me that the poster's missing a lot of stuff, okay? So that's why, let's stop there. We have missing time. And
this is the exciting part.
Okay, we have missing time, first of all. We have missing time, okay? Like 10 seconds.
They were
plus,
there. We were out there for 5 minutes. I mean, probably maybe a little over 5 minutes because, we had to get in and park, and he went out and went into the barn.
We went to the nuptials.
Yes.
We had to go to the nuptials. She was upset.
So he did. I'm
They
like,
actually they were upset.
Come on,
They said I was in there
hurry.
forever. I was in there for, I think it's like a minute and a half or something.
Yeah,
a minute 45 seconds.
according to your camera, it's like a minute 45 seconds, but he was in there for 5 minutes because there was a clock, in the car.
And well, and the car had, by the time I got out there, to me, the car had been completely moved. The car had been in one spot when I walked in. I was only in there for like a minute 45 seconds.
Yes.
And when I got out, the car had been moved from the door and parked all the way back by the blackberry bushes where I saw the orb when I was picking blackberries in my book, the blackberry bush orbs. Okay. And so
the book is called Falling
Sky.
Yes.
There's the free links to it all over my sites everywhere you go, so anybody can have a free copy of the book to read it. This is in there. Even this is in there. This whole, it's free. The book's free. This whole thing about the parallel dimensional universes is all in there. The pictures, not all of the pictures are in there. Most of the pictures are on my Facebook. That's the best way to get them out there digitally, so you can actually see the quality of them. But so this is what we're talking about. Back to what I wanted to get at here. The parallel dimensional universes right within our solar system. I know that sounds crazy and bizarre, and it really is crazy and bizarre. The thing of it is...
It's good to know.
The thing of it is, that's why you're seeing so many. This is why you're seeing and hearing about so many aliens, and why you're hearing about things like, well, Space Force, okay? This is why you're hearing about these things, because
movies,
media, all types of things. It's because it's a real scenario going on, and it could be causing a pandemic, they probably believe, the people of this planet, okay? And that's why a lot of it's not being disclosed to you. That's my interpretation of it. They don't think people can handle this. They don't think people can understand it or comprehend it.
I believe the government just wants something to lord over the people.
Well, people think, okay, they're traveling from these parallel dimensional planets within our universe, within our solar system here, okay? Those are all in our solar system. All they're doing is punching through a space-time continuum. They're bending 2 points together to create that wormhole. Remember that, the vortex that just slipped through. So they're not traveling very far to come here, okay? And when they get here, they can also remain in another realm, which makes them virtually invisible to most people. Some people see them, some people don't. That's why you see them just vanish out of the air, because they're not flying away. Most of the time, what people really describe is it just vanishes out of the sky. So that's what's going on. They're going into other realms. So they are right here. This image is really kind of an epic image. Like I said, all these images are saved on the original SD card. It was a very special day. It was just when my niece's wedding was fantastic too. I mean, it was really a beautiful wedding, and
it was really
cool.
Really neat. Yeah.
It was done in a barn setting, just like that, oddly enough, and it was weird. The weirdest thing is right. That's how these beings are always there. They arrange things like this, and they're perfectly organizing. And when they pronounced them husband and wife, and we're in the barn, they had the barn doors open, and they're in my niece's barn.
Oh, this is the fun part.
Mm-hmm. As soon as they pronounced them husband and wife, all of a sudden the wind just started blowing through the barn. And go, oh, they're here. Okay, so they came. They came for the event. They showed up for this. They arrived for this event. It was a wedding. And that's why they were there.
A wedding in a
It was very special. It was just very special. So that I kind of want to top it with that, because
it was. I would like to add one.
Go ahead, absolutely.
I would like to add one final note. It's not about the wedding, but it's about the article in the Argus Courier. Was that my dad was the typesetter for 35 years.
Yes, he was.
He was a typesetter for 35 years, and he misspelled.
Edward Mannion, that's her dad of
Yes.
Petaluma. People probably, any locals, usually most people know who he is.
Mm-hmm. They sure They sure do. He was a town historian.
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
But
but
his house was a
he
museum.
misspelled Michael's last name instead of Davis. He spelled it Davies. So we always, kid around about that, don't we, dear?
Yes, and
We do.
what's weird is the barn that we're speaking of,
Yes.
where that all these events happen. He was into history. What's really odd is, you know what the history in this barn?
I do.
Okay, tell me
Yes.
tell them the
It
history of the
was
barn. I know it.
it was an old stagecoach stop.
Yes, yes, it was an
Yeah,
old stagecoach stop.
Yeah, they had stagecoaches running through there and all that.
But yeah, that's exactly. It was a stagecoach stop, and the house that I lived in actually was where they stayed. Did stay overnight there because it was a
It's
long
also
trip.
Indian territory out there.
It's also native territory.
Yes, it is.
It also had the property we were on also had an artesian spring water well, so it needed no pump. It bubbled up itself. So there were fissures underneath.
Nice place.
There were
That's
fissures
nice.
underneath that place, meaning we've got steam, because this is the geysers around this area. This is Geyserville area in Sonoma County. It's in Geyserville's in Sonoma County. So there's geysers and fissures all over this place. And
The place is in Petaluma.
well, the place is very popular.
So in
Probably
California.
this place is popular, and one of the reasons why it's always been a mecca for this type of experience is because primarily we're just talking about is the it's, I don't know how else to say it. It's the wine and grape country. Okay, let's just get right to the point. This is wine and grapes.
Luther Burbank. He was.
Wait, no. What I'm wondering. Wait, the aliens.
Crusted plants.
Aliens like fruit. Okay, and this is a grape. There's grape, Corbel, all these huge vineyards around here, just everywhere. Sonoma,
Things
Napa.
were really, really well.
Really
around
abundance.
here.
There's
Yes,
sweet
they do.
glucose stuff and lots of vegetables. There's also Gravestine apples here. So there's a lot of fruit here. And there's also a lot of livestock here, which means a lot of protein and glucose for these beings. So it's a really perfect little nesting and mecca to pop in and out and grab what you want, okay?
Petaluma is like the capital of the world.
That's right.
So
Protein everywhere.
it offers.
Protein everywhere and glucose everywhere, okay? I don't know how else to put it. So that's a driving force and a reason why they're really gravitating toward this area. There's also underground bases in this particular area, and that I'm not going to get into the full tilt on that one, but I'll just tell you that when I was taking the Triangle Craft in my book, it's called The Triangle Craft, where I walk out and there's missing time, and the Triangle Craft is above me, and well, that was a big cargo craft, okay? That would have wound up being was a big, large, gigantic cargo craft, and they're shipping goods, okay? And that's why when it flew away, it just vanished from the sky, because it slips to another realm. They were shipping cargo to an area here that was out by a Coast Guard base that was across the mountains, okay? But out further, they also go out to the oceans, and so a lot of them are USOs, and that's where they go, and they can hide out for a very long time and do what they need to do down there, because the vessel that I was on was as wide as our 7-acre parcel, and it just was, the wingspan was just, it was capable of hovering right above me, and there's a lot of missing time. I'm not going to get into that one right now because I've spent a lot of time in it now, but I want to share what I've shared. Do you have anything else to say, Susie?
Well, good night, everyone.
Good night. Have a nice night, folks.